Good evening, everybody. I'm just going to give it a moment for some people to join our webinar. And thank you so much for coming along this evening and joining us. So this evening we are looking at strong bones and strong body. And we have the fantastic Suzanne Clarke here joining us. So thank you so much, Suzanne. So Suzanne is a fitness trainer working in Feelfit gyms in Navan. And Suzanne has over 20 years experience in the industry, in exercise, and is very passionate about how important exercise is in our bone health, our overall health, and our mental health as well. So Suzanne is a lifelong celiac. She was diagnosed at the age of 2. And also 10 years ago, she was diagnosed with osteopenia. So she has a full understanding of the issues that both celiacs and those living with gluten intolerance are facing. And I suppose all of us are facing with kind of our bone health and the importance of it. And before I hand over to Suzanne, I just want to say thank you to our title sponsor, SuperValu, for helping us out this week and making this magic happen. And this evening, we've got 5 kind of prizes or, hampers. We've got some beautiful food hampers to give away. We have Flahavans are giving us a hamper this evening. So is Sisu Kombucha, which is an absolutely beautiful product. We have a Shelton hamper, which is very timely with Halloween coming up. Lovely sweets and treats in there. We have a Schnitzer bread love hamper, and we've also got a membership of the Coeliac Society. So as we proceed through the webinar and the exercise class, Jennifer, my colleague, will pick winners and let you all know. So good evening, Suzanne. How are you this evening, and how have you been managing through COVID?
Yeah, okay. Great to be here. So hopefully you're all going to enjoy this. We're going to have, basically we're going to do 10 exercises, 5 exercises at a time in 2 sets. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a warm-up first. There's going to be different levels within the exercise. We'll focus on level 1, but every so often I'm going to put in how to make that exercise a little bit harder. Obviously, I'm not sure of what the audience is in terms of ability and fitness, so we'll try and cover it for everybody. You don't need any equipment. You just need your floor, bottle of water and towel. We'll have a break halfway through, and we'll just keep going and see how we go. So in terms of sounds, you're going to hear 3 beeps when we come to the end of a set, and it'll set you in and out. We're going to do 30 seconds exercise, 15 seconds rest in the main set. But first we're going to start with a warm-up. So I'm just going to start my timer here to keep me right. There we go. Okay, so first we're going to just march on the spot, loosen everything out. It's a bit strange not having live people in here with me, but sure, we'll do our best. You can move this up to a boxer shuffle if you like, depending on your ability. We should all be exercising regardless of what age we are, how much ability we have, how much inabilities. It's all to do with whatever is within your level. As I say, I'm celiac myself. I also have osteopenia, and I'm not, let's just say I'm in my 50s, my wonderful years. Okay, so from here, we're going to put the hands up and down, just get some extra movement in. Now my hands are disappearing off the screen here, but they're there. Okay, and out to the side. And finish with the boxer shuffle at the front. Okay, from here, we're going to stretch our back out, hands to the front, and big stretch. Some nice movement into the arms there. From this side, you're going to see, try and get that back right the way down, and then when you stand up, big stretch out. And one more time. Hands in front, big stretch. Okay, so from here, let's get the waist involved. We're just going to loosen up the joints around the waist. So circles around. Do a few to one side, and then we'll reverse back to the other side. Again, do this within your own ability. Whatever you feel. If you do have osteoporosis, please talk to your doctor first before starting any exercise regime. There is always going to be something you can do. It's just finding the level that's right for you. Okay, knees. Round and circle on the knees. There we go. And then back to the other side. If you're worried about balance at all, just take all these things nice and slow. From here, we're going to do a high knee twist. So bring up both your arms, and then you're going to come down to the opposite elbow. Opposite, up, opposite. If you're finding this too easy, bring in a jump. Okay, so up and across, up and across. All with me so far? I hope you're all not sitting on your couches at home now, that there's actually people up doing this, not here all by myself. Okay, air squats. Right, so down.
It's important to say that we'll take questions at the end. I'm sorry I never mentioned that. So if anyone has any questions, send them in to us and we'll answer them whenever there's a natural break or towards the end of the session.
Perfect. Okay, so just doing some nice air squats here. Make sure to keep your chest up high. You're looking in front of you, not too much bending in the back. With all these exercises, always be mindful of your back. Keep a nice straight back and a strong core, which is what we're all looking for. Okay, the next part we're going to do high knees, just left and right. Now, if this is enough for you, then that's perfectly fine. And if this is too easy, bring in a jump. Okay, so left and right, nice and high up. Hope you're all feeling nice and warm now. Okay, from here, we're going to do kickbacks. With this one, you can use your hands as well and bring everything into it. And if this is too sedentary for you, absolutely bring in a jump. Hope we're all doing all right. I'm warm anyway. I don't know about the rest of you.
I'm feeling very lazy, but I can guarantee all participants that I did my exercise this morning at 6:30. I promise.
I didn't hear myself at 6:30, but not all day. Okay, so at the end of this, just keep moving in between the sets as well. Even when we're having rest, we're working for 30 seconds and then we're resting for 15. But in those 15, keep moving. Don't just stand, because we want to keep that heart rate up. Obviously not too high, but you know you're going to work within your own level. So we're going to start our first set with a walkout. There's my beep. So the walkout, you can still see me. Hands down, walk all the way out as far as the plank. Walk all the way back and stand. Now if you find that too easy, lift the left, lift the right. Come back up and jump. So pick the level that's right for you. Walking all the way out, stop, walking all the way back and stand. Be mindful of your back when you're doing this. We're not having any dips in the back. There we go, that's one done. So now we're on 15 seconds rest. We're going to repeat that exercise and then we're going to move on to the second one. Don't worry about the names or remembering any of these. I'm going to put this workout up on my Facebook page, SC Fitness, and you'll be able to copy it from there anytime you want to do it. Okay, second round. Walk all the way out, hold, walk all the way back, and stand. Walk all the way out, hold, walk all the way back, stand. And add the jump if you want. As I say, work to your own level. Your level's always going to change, because the more you exercise, the easier these things are going to be, and the more progress you're going to make. It's all about consistency, making sure that you exercise regularly. There's my beep. Okay, and shake it out. But the second exercise we're going to do is alternating lunges. So this one, you want to make sure you keep your core nice and tight, body up straight. Again, it's always about protecting your back. Okay, so lunge forward and stand up. Lunge forward and stand up. You can change which arm you use in front of you, left and right. Keep the back nice and straight. I'm not landing my knee on the ground, I'm coming close to the ground. Very good. Now, if you find this too easy, you can change to split jumps where you're jumping. Okay.
And that's very difficult.
Believe me. I'm going to choose the easier one myself here. Okay, and rest. Shake out the legs. That's exercise 2. And we're going to do one more set of that. All good so far? We go with the thumbs up.
Yeah, we've a couple of great questions coming in. Suzanne, we'll deal with those at the end. So thanks, Yvonne and Mary.
Lunging again. Back nice and straight. Keep that knee slightly off the ground. Now, if you can go into a lunge, you can go a lighter level. You don't have to come all the way down. Just do what's right for you, because something is always going to be better than nothing. You're always going to beat whoever's sitting on the couch. I'm not talking to you, Andrew. Okay, and again, as I say, if you want to make it harder, split jumps. Very good. And there's your big. Okay, so next we've got jumping jacks, or you can do step out jacks. There are some extras you can add into this as well. I'll show you as we go. If at any point you need a break, take a drink. We'll have a natural break after 5 exercises anyway. Okay, so jumping jacks. You can step out, so you don't have to do the full jump. So these are step jacks. one you'll all be familiar with, jumping jacks. Again, do the one that's right for you. Either step out or jump out. If you did the jumping ones and that's still not hard enough, you can put in a touchdown in it. So we're going to step out and back, and in between, either boxer shuffles or just keep walking, marching on the spot. Okay, so we've got one more set of that to do. Hope you're all right so far. Nice and quiet here for change. Normally there's blaring music outside. Okay, step out, step out. Again, within your own ability, you can make those steps smaller. You just do little steps. And you can bring the arms forward or the arms to the side. Or your full jumping jacks. Try and get as much movement as you can. We're all going to have different range of motion. So if for you, you can't get your arms all the way up, that's fine, just bring them halfway. Okay, so the next one, squat thrust. So basically this is a step back. I'm going to show you we get to it. A quick mid-drink myself here. Okay, with the squat thrust, 2 hands down, walk back, in and stand. The harder version of this is when you jump back with both feet and add in a jump. So hands down, jump back, jump in, and jump up. Jump back, jump in, and jump up. Or as I say, one leg at a time, and stand. Always keeping your back nice and straight. And there's the glutes, walking it out.
Elbows over wrists are important in that exercise, aren't they, Suzanne?
Absolutely. And for people that have issues with the wrists, you can always do these on your knuckles, because some people find that that weight on their wrist is quite a lot, especially for people with osteopenia.
Yeah.
You might find that you might actually feel better doing it this way. I don't know if you can see my hands there, but for me, I would do a lot of my exercises actually on my knuckles, because my own wrists don't tend to like it too much.
That's a very good trick.
I'm watching my time there since it's gone. Definitely, there we go. And back up again. So for me, knuckles. But yes, always hands under shoulders, under wrist. You want to have these straight lines. Okay, so the last one in this set, mountain climbers. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with these. We do the easier level first, and then the harder. There are tons of different ways that you can do mountain climbers. I might throw a few of them in as we're going. Okay, so first with mountain climbers. One leg in after the other. Again, with this one, if you find there's a lot of pressure on your wrists, change onto your knuckles. Makes it a lot easier because there's not a lot of pressure coming down that way. And if they're too easy for you, one after the other. You want to try and get those knees as close to your shoulder, as close to your elbows as you can. And there we go. And stand. Now after this next mountain climbers, we're going to have a water break for about a minute, and then we'll start our next set. Hope everybody's doing okay so far.
You're doing a great job. Thank you.
Oh, talking is killing me. Okay, right. Although anyone that knows me would find that amusing. You know who you are. Okay, so keep the mountain climbers going. You can mix between the two. So if you want to do a bit slower, you can also add in a plank jack. Whatever's within your level. There we go. 5 seconds to go. Okay, so that's the first set done. We've got a minute's rest now, and then we're going to start another 5 exercises. Some of the next exercises will be lying down as well. So,
Suzanne, obviously, if you've got somebody who has a reasonable level of fitness, you can use either tins of beans or water bottles or any or a hand weight. You don't have to go buying expensive
weights by any means, like even pints of milk, especially the jugs.
Absolutely.
You know, there's ways of changing all of these to make them harder by just changing the angle, changing how many you do, changing the intensity of what you do. But today for this, you don't need anything. You need a mat.
Yeah, and I know some of the viewers are loving the fact that there's no weights or anything needed. So that's
just yourself and your floor. That's it.
Yeah,
and definitely some water. Okay, we're about to start our next set now. So the first exercise is called a curtsy lunge. Okay, so with this one, curtsy and stand. Curtsy and stand. So you can cross your hands each time. I seem to have lost something on my screen there, just a second.
Okay.
There we go. I've gone down to a little screen, whatever happened there, but. Okay, so if you want to make this one harder, you add a jump. I might just pause this for a second and find out what's going on with the screen. Oh no, I'm back again. That's good. Okay, so tap away. So again with the curtsy lunge, bring in your arms as well, get plenty of movement in. The more parts of your body that are moving, the better. And again, in between each one, keep moving. Okay, so here's our curtsy lunge again. You can cross your hands and stand. With these, you're getting right into your glutes. You'll know about it tomorrow if you haven't used these too much. And as I say, if you want to make it harder, add in a jump. And up. Here we go. So the more you come across, the better. But you can just come this way. Deeper lunges are always going to give you more benefit. But you've got to work within the level that works for you. Okay, so next we've got squat pulse. This is for everybody, keeping the chest up nice and high. I lost my head there. But when you're going down, you can have a break and just take, do 3 at a time, then stop and then start again. So for this, we're going to do a squat, knees stay pointing out, and up. So with these, to make them harder, you can do a squat down at the bottom, and up. So let's say you do 3 pulses, and stand. The important thing with these, keep your chest up nice and high, make sure the knees are staying out, that they're not buckling in on you. Feet are pointed slightly out, and chest is up. There we go. And again, keep the arms and the legs moving all the time. One more round of that. In 3, 2, 1. And what? Now I'm using my hands like this. You might prefer to fold them a different way. But for me, it helps me with my balance to just swing and come up again. And then pulse down at the bottom. For you, this might be enough. Or you might be super flexible and go all the way to the floor. I'm not that flexible. And on we go. So after this, we're going to be lying on the ground for our next 3 exercises. Okay. So next, we're going to do, what am I up there? Bird dog. I'm sure some of you are familiar with this. There's a lot of balance involved in this. Just to make sure you get the lines right. I'm just going to put this down a little bit. Okay, so with bird dog, you're bringing your arm out and your leg back. I know you probably can't see all of you there, but so the idea is to balance. You're thinking in terms of someone is pulling your front and pulling your foot as hard as you can to get a nice big long stretch, but you've got to balance in the middle. Hold for 3, 2, 1, and change. 3, 2, 1, and change. You can do these on your knuckles as well. Okay, I'm not going to ask you to get up in between from this. You'd only have stood up and you'd be sitting down again. But we'll just keep the arms moving and a little bit of a twist if your back is okay with that. I'll do 1 more set of these. Okay, last one. So bird dog. Leg pointing straight behind, arm in front. If you find that it's too hard to hold your balance, you can leave your foot down at the back and just hold your hand up and do with the foot down and just the hand up. As you get more confident, bring both up, keep those lines straight. So I'm not raising my head, I'm putting a bit more pressure on my neck, so I'm just keeping everything in line. Knees are under the shoulder, knees are under the hips, hands are under the shoulders. Okay, now everybody's favorite, push-ups. Okay, you can do these against a wall. You can do it using the edge of a table. When you're doing kneeling push-ups, what you want to make sure of is that there's a straight line between your shoulder, your hips and your knees, and your elbows are going to point backwards. So push-ups, all the way down, all the way up. What you sometimes find with people doing push-ups is they bring their head down and then they think their chest is down. But you want to bring your whole body down, your whole body up. If this is too hard for you, use the edge of a windowsill or the side of a chair, or even just flat up against the wall. If this is too easy, Do a full push-up, all the way down, and all the way up. And rest. Okay. Again, keep the arms moving. We're not going to jump up and down at this stage. After this, we've got one more exercise, which you can do 101 different variations of. I should give a prize for guessing what the next one is. Okay, knee push-ups again. If you want to, as I say, to take the pressure off your wrists, straight underneath, all the way down, all the way up. You can buy things to hold, but to be honest, you just need to use your knuckles. And again, take breaks. So if you find it too hard, you can always just lie down, take a break, and then come back up. The trick is to make sure that that line stays straight, that you're not putting an arch in your back, and you're not putting your butt up in the air like this. Okay, and last one. Okay, so on rest. I believe we've done 2 of those. Oh yes, one more exercise to go. Okay, so the next one is plank. So you can do plank in lots of different ways. I'm going to take this out of my way. You can do plank on your hands. Again, just keeping a straight line. So the hands are directly under the shoulders. Straight line between the shoulders, the hips, the knees and the ankles, and just hold. If that's too easy for you, put the elbows down, straight line. Elbows are directly underneath the shoulders and hold. The trick with this is not to be up like this, and again, not to be down there. You want that straight line. If you are too high or too low, you won't get the benefit, your core won't be doing the work, and it'll be a half exercise. What you want to think about doing these exercises, time under tension, meaning that there's nothing to be gained necessarily about doing these things quickly. It's all about doing things slow and controlled. So we go for the elbow push-up again, elbows on the shoulders. You can do things like reach forward and do plank touches, or you can bring your knees up to your elbows. But holding just still is also perfectly fine, so long as that line is straight and we're not seeing the butts up in the air. Because that tends to be what you see a lot, especially when people get tired and then the belly starts to wobble and so on and so forth. But it's all practice. The more you do it, the easier it gets. There we go. Okay, so now we're going to do a little bit of a cool down. Hope you found that okay. As I say, I'll put it up on my Facebook page so that if you want to follow it at any point later on, you can. So what I find to be a nice stretch with this, especially if you've done a lot of glute exercise, cut off my head there, back a little bit, is to put your knee out and your back leg back further so that you're getting into these hip flexors here. You get a good stretch there along your quad and hold. Then if you reverse back, foot up, oh that's fine, and the feet come up. Now if you have issues with your back, you can leave this next bit out, but I always find it's a nice twist at the end. Put your hand down and stretch your opposite hand up. You get a nice stretch into the spine. But if you have issues with your back, you can leave that bit out. Opposite side. Bring the back leg back as far as you can, and that way you get into a nice stretch here. Feels actually really nice. Reverse. Toes up, leg nice and straight. You feel that going in all the way down the back of your leg. And again, put your hand down, your right hand down with your left leg's in front, and twist, and look up. When you're twisting, you may only get to here. It all depends on how much flexibility you have in your spine, but you can also leave it out if your back has issues. Okay? Now from there, we're going to give our back a little rest from all the stretching. So just lying on your back, bring your knees in, hands around your knees, and just hold. I like this one. Okay, and from here, let one leg out, hold your knee in. You can develop this into a hamstring stretch, but we won't do that today. Just hold. And then the leg. If you're limited flexibility, you can leave out this next one and just repeat the one we just did. But this one is a lovely stretch. It's figure 4. Put your right leg on top of your left, hands underneath, pull in towards you. You get a really, really nice stretch. Just add a little bit to this, shift your hips over a little bit, and let yourself fall to the side. That's really nice. You usually watch the opposite side to where your legs fall. Back into the middle, left over right, hands in through, and pull, and and then over to the other side. And pull across.
That's my favourite one, Suzanne. I love that stretch.
Oh, it's really nice. It's so relaxing.
Yeah.
It's really nice. I hope I'm still on the camera because I'm not.
Are you, absolutely, you're still there.
Okay, and then the last one of my favourites. I'm going to turn this off. I've actually gone. That tells me I'm finished, but I just got one more stretch to do. So in child's pose, so you basically put your knees out. There's lots of names for these poses depending on what some people call them one thing, some call them another, but you want your knees nice and wide, hands in front, and just stretch down into the middle. You're sitting on top of your, what are you doing this one? Might be knocking off the sound. Okay, and then walk your hands over to the right hand side. Head down again. You're going to feel that stretch coming into your left. Walk all the way back to the other side. Head down and make a stretch. Again, only go as far as feels comfortable for you. These are supposed to feel like a nice stretch. They're not supposed to be painful in any way. If you are having pain in anything, you need to stop. Okay, bring your knees in together. Keep your hips up high this time. And reach down into the same similar stretch. But this one you're going to feel in your upper back and underneath your arms. Especially nice. And hold. Okay, and then we come back up. You can do the standing or sitting, but just get into your shoulders, bring your right hand, left hand across and just pull in. We're almost done. You can do the standing as well, as I say. Hand up, drop above the head, and just going to pull into your triceps. And then repeat on the other side. Arm across. Trick in this one is not to bring the shoulder up. You see a lot of people doing this and the shoulders are nearly up on top of their ears. That shoulder stays down. Pull the arm across. Now you would hold all of these stretches for longer than I have, if you have the time at home. So 30, 40 seconds for each stretch would be lovely with time. And back behind. And go, and then we just shake it all out. And then we're done.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Suzanne. You're absolutely brilliant. Now we have, you have a glass, a sip of water there. We've had a couple of great questions in here. Tony there was asking, is this sufficient resistance training for the over 60s? Now obviously, I'll let you answer, but obviously this is brilliant, but it's a start. And obviously as you get stronger, you kind of keep moving. Isn't that right, Suzanne? You kind of keep adding a little bit of...
We do this, no, but like in terms of sufficient, it really depends on what your current ability is. I do have some clients that are in their 60s, but I would tend to do some more mobility exercises with them first, just to make sure that everything is working right, and some balance exercises. Because I think when you get into your 60s, balance becomes a big issue. What you really don't want is to have any unnecessary falls, especially in the osteoporosis way that a fall can cause a broken bone. But in terms of is it enough, in terms of resistance, it's definitely a good start. You can add in weights as you go. Any age can do weight training. You don't need to be 20, you can do 40, 50, 60. You'll see bodybuilders right up into their 80s. Not that I'm suggesting you do bodybuilding, but yeah. Yes, you can absolutely add weights into this. Even in the lunges earlier, you can be holding weights. You can do shoulder presses with them while you're doing it. There's like most of those exercises can be adapted to add weights into them. Yeah, I would say, yes, start with this, but definitely add weights in as you go along.
Brilliant. Now, Yvonne was asking, how many times a day should you exercise? I do a lot of walking, but starting to find I need to do more cardio. So any thoughts on that?
It depends on what kind of walks they are. If it's a walk and it's a stroll and you're out with your dog and your heart rate isn't going up too much, then the best way to change that is actually to do a much brisker walk. So that you can just about have a conversation while you're getting your heart rate right up. Walking is fantastic. On its own, it will do a certain amount for weight bearing, but it's not going to be as effective as doing weight bearing exercises. So mixing it up would work really well. If you were to go for a walk one day, do some strength exercises the next day, walk the third day. 3 to 5 times a week is great. It's recommended that we do 30 minutes 5 times a week. Yeah, but that doesn't need to be all walking. Lots of different, but the thing is to make sure you do something that you enjoy. If you enjoy it, you will stick with it. If you're not enjoying it, it's really hard to keep the momentum going on it.
Yeah. And it's also important, I think you'll agree, Suzanne, is that not only are we training, but it's also just getting your step count up. So it's not about doing like a 20-minute class and then kind of being sedentary, because you know, I'm sitting at my desk quite a lot at the moment. I suppose we all are, but you know, I might do a morning class, but then in the evening, I often go out for a walk just to kind of
absolutely
step count and kind of look after your heart health and your mental health as well. I think that's really important, isn't it?
Exercise is so much more than just the amount of calories you burn. The endorphins that you produce from exercising are just gold. If you could bottle it and sell it, you'd be a millionaire. So and that feeling you get after training, the natural endorphins you get, oh, fantastic.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. And also, you know, for your bone health, you know, when you're getting out into the sunlight, you know, you can also do your exercises outside, you know, during the summertime. I know now there's not that much sun to get your vitamin D, but actually, you know, dressed as you are, if you were doing that outside during the sun, you actually would be able to pick up some vitamin D as well through your skin, which would be fantastic as well.
Absolutely. The thing is, like, different exercises would suit different people. Like there are people that just would not come to the gym if their life depended on it. You don't need to. You just need to find the exercise that works for you. It could be dancing, it could be boxing, it could be martial arts, it could be running. You know, whatever it is that works for you. And swimming, like swimming, to be fair, is a really good cardio exercise. But in terms of how things are for osteoporosis, not the best one for bones because your body is supported. But as a recreational aerobic activity, fantastic. But you just need to mix it up with different kinds of exercise.
Absolutely. Now, Mary had a question here. She says, I'm 66 years old this week. Is there any good exercise for balance?
Yes, there's lots of good exercise for balance. And like one of the good things to use is to use a chair. So like if I was to stand up, I have my imaginary chair here, to just do balances so that you're standing. And then when you feel your balance is good, to let go of the chair and to just do exercise where you're going in and out and forward and back. But it's important to do all these balance exercises because the older you get, your balance is affected. And it's really, really important to work on that balance. So even if you do, like there's loads of things online as well. I don't know if you're online for this, so obviously you're not too badly. But there's exercise to do for balance in terms of, you know, one-legged stands, moving your legs forward and back, using a chair to stand and then coming away from it, you know, but really, really important. You'll find there's lots of YouTube stuff out there if you say balance exercises and stuff like that. But yes, hugely important. The amount of people that a simple fall and breaking a bone when, you know, if your balance is good and your muscles are good, supporting your bones as well, because the stronger your muscles, the less likely you are to hurt yourself when you fall.
Well, prime example, I tripped over my shopping bag. I went back on my shopping bag in the supermarket there on Friday. Went down like a sack of potatoes, but I think you're absolutely right. I kind of, even the guy at the till was like, oh my God. But I just bounced back up again because, you know, it's mobility, as you say, literally as you say, and sort of strength and muscle there to protect you.
Standing on one leg like sounds like a very simple thing to do, but if you haven't been doing it regularly, you can find that your balance is quite shaken with that. But when you're doing balance exercises when you're older, it's a good idea to do them barefoot as well, so you can really feel the muscles in your feet working. You know, but I mean, I wouldn't underestimate it because, like, I don't have osteoporosis, I have osteopenia, but I've never broken a bone. You know, and I put a lot of that down. That doesn't mean that I haven't fallen. I have fallen, but then I have the muscle structure around that to keep it strong. So, like, keeping that balance is, you know, amazing. Anyone that, like, you know, falls off a step and breaks a bone, you need to ask questions and think about having DEXA scans as well. Like, as celiacs especially, if you haven't already had a DEXA scan at 66, I would talk to your doctor and see about it. Because there's
even over 50, they say, you know, for celiacs that you should be having DEXA scans. Isn't that right?
Absolutely, yeah. Once you're kind of over 50, like especially for the female of the species, like when you hit menopause, there's a massive drop in estrogen, and that can affect your bone density. So I do DEXA scan every 2 years, you know, and I have been for the last 15 years. You know, and like by training, you can affect your bone density just because your bones have been impacted by osteoporosis or osteopenia. It doesn't mean you can't recover them, but it is a slow process.
Yeah. Sign said here, I used to be able to stand like a stork. Those days have gone. But obviously that's a postural issue, is it? Or it also could be just that you get tight in your shoulders? Or what do you think?
It depends on your lifestyle as well. A lot of people that spend a lot of time at desks tend to be curved more because they spend so much time looking down. Pilates is wonderful for helping with exercise and just helping with that posture so that you're sitting upright. You know, because
she just said she thinks it's age, that it's not posture at all. But but I've got, you'll see, I'll show you this, what I sit on in my office. I sit on one of these kind of I don't know what they're called. They're like a bowl. Instead of having a bowl in the office, I have one of these yogurt. They're kind of like a special sort of seat so that you kind of sit, and it encourages kind of decent posture, because actually I can't see that.
If you think it is age related, that's no reason to assume that it can't be improved.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you're never too old to exercise. You can start at any point.
Yeah.
And you will make improvements. It's all about being consistent and really working hard to get those skills back, because you have them. We were all able to balance. It's just muscle memory comes back, but you do have to work on it.
Yeah. And just briefly before we kind of sign off, obviously exercise, and we had Sarah Keogh, dietitian, on earlier talking about diet. And obviously it's important when you are exercising that you're, you know, post-exercise, that you have some protein after you exercise. Do you want to touch a little bit about that and how it's sort of important nutrients are?
That if you haven't eaten a lot of protein before you exercise, it's important to try and have protein within 30 minutes of when you finish exercising. Yeah. But the new research out there says if you've had a protein-rich meal before training, it doesn't matter if you have it within 30 minutes. It's okay if you have it a bit later. But the rule of thumb is try and get your protein in 30 minutes after training if you can. Now that doesn't have to be a protein shake. There's lots of ways of having protein.
Absolutely.
You know, peanut butter on an apple or something, you know, like there's lots of ways, or nuts are really good with protein. And depending on like celiac diets, you know, you do have to work that little bit more clever, I suppose, in terms of making sure that it's good protein. But like all the natural proteins in meat and chicken and stuff, there's no gluten in them. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So it's not a celiac issue per se, it's a training thing to make sure that you get enough protein in. And
is there any good time in the day to train, Suzanne, or is it just any time?
No, it's personal preference. Personally, I prefer to do my training in the morning, because I find that if I train late at night that I can't settle down, I can't sleep. But it is personal preference. Some people prefer to train at night. The most important thing is that you train regardless of what time of day it is, that you make that time for yourself. And it isn't all about, as I say, burning the calories. It's about just making that time for you, that you can, you know, give your head a rest and just get those natural endorphins in.
Fantastic. And how can, if anybody is interested in finding you, Suzanne, where can we find you?
Well, you can find me on my Facebook page, SC Fitness, and I also have an Instagram page, Suzanne Clarke PT. And my details, I think, are on the Gluten Free Living page anyway. I'm based in Navan, but if anyone has any questions related to this, especially like, you know, I know there's a few questions coming in there from older adults, and I'm particularly interested in making sure that people that are not in their 20s, that basically exercise the rest of your life. So if you have any questions that you didn't think of now or that come to you later, you can email me at suzanneclarkept@gmail.com.
Oh, you're fantastic.
Like that.
And we're hoping that we'll get this up on our, for all those who may have missed it or would like to follow it again, but you've registered for the show, they'll get a link to this, so you can maybe do this again tomorrow or later on in the week. So thank you so much, Suzanne. That was absolutely brilliant. I don't think, I'm just double checking if there's any other questions. Lots of really great feedback coming in, and we had nearly 90 people watching that while you were doing it, Suzanne. So absolutely brilliant. Well done. And thank you all for joining. And lots more events happening all through the rest of the week. Tomorrow, we've got kids. We've got the Wonky Spatula doing a cookery demo. We've got Coeliac Dublin, a blogger, coming on as well. So we've lots going on. So do check out our website.
I do have a number of recipes on my page, because I know not all of us are in families where we're all celiacs. Yeah. So I tend to have recipes that will work for gluten-free and will work for non-gluten-free. And as I don't eat meat myself, I tend to have recipes that would have, I basically have 2 pots on the go, where one is with meat and one is without meat. So you can do it all in one meal without it being too awkward, you know. But yes, there's some nice food recipes up there as well. Quite part of the orange bread. Now,
I've just got to announce some winners. We've got Carol Gormley, so she has won the Flahavans hamper. We've got Lorcan, who won the Sisu kombucha box. Margaret O'Shea won membership, and Robert Quinlan won the schnitzer, and Tony O'Regan won the Shelton hamper. So some young people, and young and old in the house, will enjoy that. So do get in touch with Jennifer at jennifer.morrow@coeliac.ie. That's JENNIFER.morrow, MORROW @coeliac.ie. feelfit.ie with your details. So if you email her with your details, we can sort that out for you. So thank you so much, Suzanne. You've been absolutely fantastic. And thank you all for joining. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.